What's up, y'all? I'm gonna do my little driving video this morning. Pull out the driveway. So today I did not get a chance to record any story times. I might make one when I get to my little duck off spot. And me and this brother was discussing the other day, you know, how like, let me make sure my driveway's down. Okay. I always double check. You don't know, you never know, man. Some people be walking around willy-nilly like, man, ain't nothing gonna happen and all that. Okay. But sometimes people be lurking. The block we stay on is pretty cool. We ain't gonna be here too much longer, but the block we stay on is pretty cool. So, you know, there really ain't a whole lot of loitering going on, but you know, some of them quiet neighborhoods be the worst ones when it comes to weirdos pulling a little funny time stuff. But anyway, me and this brother was having a discussion about work environment, you know, and it's really nice, like I was saying some weeks ago, to have an advocate at work, an ally, you know, somebody that's on code that you know that can be trusted for the most part. You don't throw all your trust, but you know, for the most part, you know, and you could tell. And I suspected this. I suspected this right off the rip. You know, but now it's nice to have somebody that you can work with, and y'all can kind of pass ideas, and they can kind of let you know who is who and everything, because you got to understand the work environment, the corporate, especially the corporate work environment for a black man or a black woman is like the yard almost. It's damn near like the prison yard. That environment. Now, I'm not saying in terms of violence, no such of a thing. I'm talking about, you know, you walking in there, you trying to find out the who's is who's. You trying to find out, you know, who's gonna cause you harm, or who's funny style. Those are the people that's going to kind of make or break the position. And 9 times out of 10, those people that those brothers or sisters warn you about are going to be people that have the power and the self-deputation ability to undermine you. They could deputize themselves to start talking about, well, he's not talking enough, or he's not doing this enough, and your numbers might be straight. You know, I'm here simply, no more, no less, to get a bag. I'm not here to talk about sports and gossip and, oh, you know, Trump should be out of office, or all gonna DI, you know what, and all this here. I'm not here for that. I could care less. Damn, my bus is right here already. Yeah, my bus is right here already. So, yeah, I don't like parking on the corner like this, but yeah, I'll wrap this up. I'll finish this when I get on the bus, or when I get to, you know. Yeah, I just found out. See, this is how late to the party I am. This is how y'all know now. A little hot. Really need another napkin in here. This is how y'all know how late I am to the party when it comes to tech. I love doing these journals. I love it in the morning, because I can just come in here and do my little thing and put my laptop, and ain't nobody in my damn, you know what I'm saying, mix, which they shouldn't. This is how late I am to the party. I click that little button right in my little Apple, and it says 4K, or like was it 1080p or 4K or whatever, and I got y'all in 1080. But when I start doing these new story times, I might start doing it in 4K. Because, you know, you might have to see a tech in, you know what I'm saying, his full melanin, see every follicle of me. But anyway, no, I was just adding on, saying that, you know, once again, making sure you have somebody on your, let me see, I'm getting this email. So I'll schedule this thing. Okay. Ship to, okay, so this is a remote user that I gotta do. This is a remote user, so I'll work on that today. This is a remote user, so I'll have them schedule a time. So okay, to Carolina. Okay, cool. So I was just adding when I was driving in, talking about how like you want to have you want to have some alliances when you in these environments and stuff. And I was gonna make a story time. There are some applications that I used to use, and I looked at, and a lot of them were bookmarked. Because remember, when I first came into the game, a lot of that stuff was on USB. I didn't tend to pull. Well, I'm lying. I was gonna say I didn't tend to pull a lot of them offline. I did pull these applications offline, but when I was in North Minneapolis getting my training, I don't think we pulled those off the internet. I think she had USB drives of a toolkit. She had a toolkit of USBs and things of that nature. So, we were given this stuff. And so, let me swipe up here. We were given this stuff. Matter of fact, how do you turn this on Do Not Disturb? That's on silent mode, but that ain't Do Not Disturb. Where's the Do Not Disturb at? Do Not Disturb for an hour. Bam. So these things won't bother me no more. That's what I love about this Apple Watch, man. This Apple Watch is that deal. Yeah, I don't really be messing around. Once I be getting little gadgets and stuff like that, I do what I do with them. I'm not so much interested in everything it could do. Taking up my day wondering everything it could do and all that kind of stuff. I used to do that when I first started. I'm like, man, I just want the money. I'm not curious at all. I'm not, how people say, well, this, that, and the third, and every little feature on the Xbox. And man, I just let me use it for 1, 2, 3. Let me see how it's used, because I'm past that point. I'm curious about other things and concepts about life, but I'm not really trying to get into the nuts and bolts of things. I'm a naturally curious person. That's how I got into this game. But I don't really care about all the intertwining stuff that people might sit at their desk and just babble about endlessly on about. No, does it work? That's all I care. I don't give a damn. I'm sorry. I could care less anymore. As long as it's working, it's working. So, some good coffee. Decaf from my second cup. Second one's going to be powered up. So, I wanted to talk about what your first position may look like as a young brother or sister coming in doing desktop support or help desk. Help desk is actually much, much harder. You're going to be doing a lot of password resets and stuff like that. I don't recommend staying in there no more than 6 months. It's pointless. You're going to learn everything you need within 6 months, unless you become a senior. But one thing you're going to learn is all the business units. You're going to learn every app. You're going to learn all this kind of stuff. Okay, so he set up an appointment. Okay, let me see. I'm just going to accept it. I'm just going to click accept, because I can knock all these out. I'm just going to click accept. So, and that's the nice thing about me working in my little duck off part. I told y'all about Blue Cross used to have them duck offs, but we didn't have our own laptops. You log into an actual desktop, so you're kind of just sitting there. And I usually just kind of hit the floor. So I'm gonna do a Blue Cross. I'm gonna do a Blue Cross story time, and I might do that today. I just might. I might hit y'all with that today, and then just schedule it out. It all depends on what y'all want. What do y'all want? I work for you. I want y'all to understand this channel, it's not for me, it's for you. I get a little therapy just doing it because I enjoy it and whatnot. But I'm already in the game. This is for you. What do you want? I work for you. That's how I see it. I'm gonna tell you what Tony said when I used to be recording my video. When I used to pay for my studio time, he was like, man, I work for you. What do you want your music to sound like? I want it to sound like Danny Elfman and damn it, Edward Scissorhands. So I pinged Titan. I said, man, I need that Edward Scissorhands, bro. I had made a concept project called Hog and Wing, and I wanted it to sound like
Edward Scissorhands. I think I'm about to. That's gonna be another part of it because see, remember when I was telling y'all when I was going to IP, I was doing tech and music at the same time. It was all intertwined, and I was talking to my homie Titan. I said, man, I know it's a corporate world and stuff. How do I intertwine this? And I said, man, I'm about to start doing my story times on some of the music and stuff and the technology we were using. I think we were using the Pro Tools XD at IPR. That's when it first came out. I forget that I was using the cutting edge of stuff that all your favorite dudes was using. Eventually, Gucci Man and Jeezy and Ti trap music and stuff. But yeah, before trap music came out, I was working the SSL boards and dealing with the most state of the art technology. A lot of dudes in Minneapolis did not have access to the stuff that I had access to. So I got to see what technology and what your stuff could sound like. So when I hear a dude talking about, man, I rap, man, listen to this. And I hear it, I'm like, oh, hell no. That ain't industry standard, bro. And some people get offended. I don't want to hear your rapping ass freestyles, man. Go ahead and get you a Pro Tools session and book you a real session. There was dudes, actually, there was people outside of my friends that I would have brought into the studio. But there was a situation, I tell a little, this will be a little piece of a story time too. Some dude, because I used to have my friends come in the studio with me when I was at IPR, and they used to record for free. I'd have them come in and, they used to record for free. So the level of quality that I was able to get them was much, much higher than anybody else in Minneapolis. This is Master Mix. This is the same people that recorded for Prince. This is a Master Mix studio. So sometimes I'd use that. But, man, listen. I'd stay there every day. And it wasn't just working on projects. I would just be in the studio. I forgot about that. I would just be in the studio, just learning how to mix. Going to that school, I'm kind of glad I went. I had some regrets at first, but I'm glad I went because going to that school, I was able to afford a kind of level of, you know what I'm saying? Like I really got to see what music's supposed to sound like. So I don't really have no regrets, man. And there was a situation where somebody stole some equipment or whatever like that. And there was a dude that grew up in the neighborhood that we came in. I remember one time he came by the studio. This dude came by the studio. He seen me. I guess he was trying to go to the school. And I remember him. And I didn't really hang with him like that. I didn't really care for him. I was cordial. People in your, he stayed in the sewer neighborhood. I didn't live there, but y'all know how I used to kind of run circles in that area. He came to the school with some other people, and I guess they were recording, but I don't think he was going to the school at that time. This might have been halfway through the year or maybe the fourth month I was in or whatever. So now some equipment came up missing, and they asked me, did I know, because I used to use the room all the time, but I wasn't using the room at that time. So somebody stole what they call the baby fat, or like the baby fat. I got to put that in the I'm going to show y'all what that looks like. That'll be in the screenshot. The baby fat something or whatever the case may be. And so let me see if I could just grab this and put this up here. It was called the baby fat or the baby fat something or whatever the case may be. And somebody stole it. And they knew I used to use the room a lot. I didn't steal it. So they want to rush for this. Okay, I got him. They got, yeah, I could do this today. So look, they got somebody stole the equipment, and it's called a MIDI room, and I'd always use the MIDI room, and some of the instructors they're a little irritated because I used it all the time rather than using Master Mix. I like to record there because it was smaller and I didn't have to configure a bunch of stuff. So that was just me being lazy. So I'd bring my friends in and we record. I record my whole homie. I had a homie that made this whole song mixtape called a Triple H mixtape. Man, that was a damn classic. I might talk about it on here a little bit, but I usually, so now I'm trying to get my bearings together, man. Read this email. Let me just copy. Let me try to. Okay, I'm trying to get my bearings together. So now, they stole the equipment. They thought that I had something to do with it. And they asked me, do you know so and so's name or whatever? And I thought they were talking about the dude that grew up in our neighborhood, or the steward. And I said, yeah, I know, because I seen him. You know what I'm saying? So he must have got caught, or some people that he knew got caught or something, stealing the baby fat. Stealing the baby fat. I call it the baby fat. The fat keyboard. It's a little purple. It's a MIDI. They got all these sounds. It's a module. You plug up a MIDI controller and you go to work and you make your beats and all that. I didn't take it. I didn't have nothing to do with it. Nothing. So they asked me. They brought me in a room and like gave me like an investigation. Like, hey man, did you know this guy? Whatever. Yeah, I know a guy by that name. But there was another guy by that name that went to that school. He was from LA. And we start kind of talking and stuff like that. And he wasn't in the school long, but I think he had the same name. Big swole dude from California. He was from South Central or something like that. He was a red rag. And we start kind of conversing and stuff. We was gonna work on some stuff. And so now he didn't go to the school no more. So it might have been him, or it might have been this dude from the neighborhood. I don't know. And even if I would have known, I would have like, no, I don't know, because I didn't do it. I don't do it. I never got to put names together and stuff. I don't put people's names. Y'all do the investigation. I didn't do it. So they started monitoring me every time I'm in there. I used to book the time. So every time they come, like they had this one security dude, he come in like literally every half hour. You know what I'm saying? And some of the founders of the company, they liked me a lot, but they still didn't know if I did it. And I understand. But I was a little offended because I was paying money for that school. That money, that school costed bread. That was bread. You see what I'm saying? So they weren't saying that I did it, but they were coming in literally every half hour. Literally every half hour. So the only people I really brought in that studio was my homie Q. I was recording his mixtape. I brought in Stack Doe, and I might have brought in Titan. I think I brought in Titan a couple times. But me and Stack Doe spent a lot of time up in there. And I didn't bring all my homies up in there. He wasn't in there because he wasn't. He was kind of recording. They were recording at this place called. At one point, they were recording at this place called 32 West. That came later, when they were working on the Street King stuff. But I don't think really came by there. He might have came by there. I don't think he came by there. No, he didn't. I only brought in like 2 or 3. I didn't believe in having just a whole bunch of people in the studio. You know how some people, they had 10 people in the studio and they smoking and doing none of that. You can't come in there. You can't smoke. You can't treat this like the hood studio. No. So I didn't bring none of my guys in there for that. Jay wasn't rapping. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't bring him in there either. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't really trying to rap. Matter of fact, when we first started going to the studio, they had booked some time. They were starting to go to the studio at one point. I had wrote raps. Remember I told you that story of him, or not him, but you know, when I was writing raps in the bedroom. He took my raps and went to the studio one day. I heard a song that they did, and I'm listening to it, and you know it's kind of offbeat because you didn't write it. And I listened to it. I was like, man, you stole my song, bro. Like he took my lyrics. I gotta send this to him. Bro took my lyrics and went to the studio, and he was in there with some other guys, and I guess he was just in there just for the sake of it. He wasn't really trying to do nothing with it, but. To everybody just listening, that was a big thing. If you could even get in the studio, like I told you, not everybody could get into the studio. Either you got somebody backing you, or you was from the streets or something. You just ain't gonna get into a studio like that. So this was a time when a studio was a big deal. Just getting into the studio was a huge deal. So I listened to the song and I said, man, bro, it was funny to me because I'm listening to how he's rapping and he's trying to rap it like how I wrote it. And you know, but it sounded pretty good. But it was funny. It was funny because and one thing we did used to do, I had one of them little thin microphones. So me and him used to be recording. We used to be rapping. I forgot all about that. I gotta do a story time about that. We used to be rapping. You know, he come over. Sometimes Q will come over and we have like the little microphone and we be rapping and we be freestyling and recording. And we was using, I think, SoundForge or something like that. SoundForge or something like that. And we be rapping on these janky microphones. And man, that must have been 2001 or old. That must have been like 98, 92. I gotta text him like, bro, do you remember them songs we did? I don't know what we was talking about. We was just talking about anything. We just listen to Psychodrama, 3 6 Mafia, and copying them. And we just rapping about whatever. And it gets, you can hear the, it gets sounded horrible. But he took my song and he stole my lyrics. And that's when I said, okay, I might be able to start ghostwriting. You know. But I'm getting way out. This is my digital journal. So back to the task at hand. Let me send this email real quick. All right, let's see. All right, so I'll take him off the email right now. Good morning. Is this for a new hire? If not, I will contact the user for time to migrate. Time for an invite. There. All right. Let them figure it out. I'm ready to pick it up. Let me know what time works you. Okay, I'm going to do that one maybe today too. So, Jay stole my lyrics. I wasn't mad at him. I thought it was super cool. I'm like, it must be okay in order to. I think it was a notebook that I had, or we had a notebook and we wrote lyrics or something, and then he took the notebook to the studio. I don't know if he took the notebook to the studio or the notebook was just sitting around. I can't remember whose notebook it was, but I don't know if he took it. Maybe he didn't have nothing to write and he heard they were going to the studio and he said, well, I'm just going. This is how I used to talk. Man, I'm just going to steal DP stuff, man. I'm just going, you know, and so he took my stuff to the studio and I was like, man, it sounds pretty good. Because when I heard it at first, I'm like, because he let me hear it. And when I heard like the I'm listening to it, because the stuff might have been kind of old or whatever, and I'm listening to it and I'm like, man, that's mine. And he starts busting up laughing. And it's the funniest thing. I'm falling out. And I'm just like, man, I hope they don't copyright my stuff, man. I don't get my royalties. Like, no, that was, I'm telling you. But getting back to the story at hand, man, I done got off. Your first job, your first help desk job is going to be just password resets and permissions and configuring people's phones and why their application may not work. You're just the first call resolution. You're not going to be on that call no more than 5 to 10, 15 minutes and you go to the next and go to the next and go to the next. And that's how it's going to be. Desktop support, you might be on like a refresh project. Let's say if it's a refresh or upgrade, same thing. What you're doing is you're just giving people new laptops and desktops. You might have 3,000, you got to migrate or whatever, moving their data over, my documents, all that. So you'll be a little familiar with Windows 11, Windows 10. That's it. And that is actually level 2 every single time. It's a new concept that is remote. Okay. I will work on it today and likely get it shipped today. I will email you when it is complete. Yeah, I'll just work on it. Yeah. So I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. I got somebody that I gotta work out or whatever. But yeah, man, that's all. You're gonna use. I'm gonna get deeper because I was going into memory lane. Your first desktop job, you might be using this thing called SCCM. All it is just a big suite to push applications, and they got this thing called Software Center. And what that does is users now, they can ask for the application themselves. It gives them the power to do it themselves and put a little more accountability on themselves. Because I'm gonna be honest, most users, they lazy as hell. They don't want to do shit. They want you to do everything. They want to just be goldfish, bird brains. And maybe a bird is giving them too much credit, because then you might start thinking about a crow. And most of these users that use computers are nowhere near the brains of a crow. Nowhere near the brains of a crow. A crow's giving them too much credit. So when I say bird brains, I don't mean a crow. I don't mean a crow at all. Goldfish. They don't want to do anything. They don't even want to think. They just, you could tell them, they just, oh, the world's falling or whatever. It's like you got a whole damn help desk behind you. You're gonna get some support, but they want everyone to do something for you. And I be wondering, how are these folks able to keep their damn jobs? The incompetence that I see on a day-to-day basis is unexcusable. And all you got to do is just double click and find the app that you want, and that's it. But that's what they got this thing with SCCM called Zero Touch. When you image a machine, basically you're pushing out a fresh new image of Windows 10, Windows 11, whatever it is. Zero Touch is you just plug it up, click, change some things in the BIOS or whatever, so the boot option is at first, and let it run its course for about 2 hours. Log back into the laptop after 2 hours, have the, make sure the apps are in there. Usually they are. All the apps they need is right, already ready. And then you just go schedule a time. Most of the time when you're dealing with desktop support, you're dealing with the user problem and them adopting. So I'll add this and we'll get back to it later.